Hi everybody, John Greene here with Scott Fisher Enterprises, ready to share with you another of my favorite leadership mantras. If you remember, this started several weeks ago, and I get the opportunity to relay to you, and share with you, and explain my top 5 leadership mantras. And we started 4 weeks ago, with get up, dress up, show up. That was number 1. And we moved on to if everything is important, then nothing is. And last week we had with change comes loss. And those have all been pretty exciting to talk about. And today, number 4 is above the line or below the line. It's your choice. And this one's really about personal behavior, standards of conduct, really, and really in all facets of our lives. This is supposed to be a leadership mantra discussion, but you know, we all take different leadership roles in different capacities, and I've mentioned this in some of the other videos, whether that's leading a company, leading a team in the workplace, or an athletic team, whether it's leading something in your community, it's leading your family, whatever the case is. So this one really applies, they all do, but this one specifically applies. And for me, it helps me frame my responses to actions. Okay, my responses to actions, because we're going to make decisions, we're going to do things over the course of our lives, and they're going to produce certain outcomes, certain results, and it's how we respond to those things that this mantra is really all about. So for the first time in the video series, we are going to have a visual aid. So I'm going to have a diagram that I'm going to show you right now. Okay, let's have a look at this thing. Okay, so here we have our line of choice. We talked about this, above the line or below the line, it's your choice. You guys can see it all coming together. So let's just have a look. Above the line, and this is about how you respond to the actions that you take. Okay, how do you respond to things? You can, above the line, you can take ownership of what you've done, you can take accountability, and you get to be responsible for your decisions and your actions and so forth. That would be above the line. Below the line, you can blame others. You can make excuses, or you can deny the fact that you had anything to do with it, particularly if it's not a great thing. So before we really go any further in that, at first glance, which set of those really better describes a great leader? Clearly, up here. Ownership, accountability, and responsibility is much more complimentary, I would say, about a person than someone who is blaming, making excuses, and denying things. So ideally, we're going to push for choices that are above the line. The other thing that's interesting about this is these are acronyms. If you look over here, OAR, what's that spell? It's an oar. What do you do with an oar? You paddle, right? You paddle, you're doing something, you're producing something, you're moving forward, right? You're working, you're trying to get somewhere. Positive stuff right there. Let's look at the acronym down here. BED, bed. You're laying there, doing nothing, lazy. Not where you want to be right there. You really want to focus on up here. But again, your choice. And the reality of being a leader is we're going to make mistakes. Okay? We're going to make bad decisions. We're going to have errors in judgment at times. And it just comes with the territory. If you're a leader, and again, whatever capacity in which you lead, you're always trying to create things, you're moving things forward, you're trying to change things, you're driving things, you're trying to make progress. And when you do those things, you're going to make some mistakes. And it's okay. It's okay. When you're the leader, you're going to do that. But how you respond to those things. I made a bad decision. Ooh, I can blame that on somebody else. I can make an excuse. I can deny that it was even me. Or I can say, yeah, that's on me. Right? Sorry. I was trying to do the right thing. Came out the wrong way. I learned from it. Okay? I grow from it. And I can teach others from it. And it's a great example to set for those who you lead. Because they're going to start to mimic the behaviors of their leader. And if you lead this way, you're going to get employees and family members and community members that also want to be this way. And that's not the kind of leader you want to be. You want to be up here. set an example, inspire people to take ownership and accountability and responsibility for what they're doing and the results of their actions. Okay? That's the personal side of this. That's you, standard of conduct for yourself. And most of you, I would assume most of you have seen this in some form or fashion, because it's fairly prevalent in leadership and in management training. It's also very popular in athletics. There's a couple famous college football coaches that use this line of choice regularly, season in and season out with their teams. And their whole goal, because you've always got some people in your organization that are down here. Not everybody's up here all the time, but your goal as a leader is, how do I move one from here to here every single day? How do I keep doing that? How do I keep doing that? And so forth. So in a minute, we're going to look a little more closely at how does this really apply, in addition to you, how does it apply to team dynamics? So let's have a look at that. All right, let's jump into the team dynamics side of above the line, below the line, your choice. So I believe most leaders, and I do this myself, I try to create environment where the people on my team are comfortable engaging in peer-to-peer accountability. Peer-to-peer accountability. And it can occur and it does occur, but it's very, very difficult. And let's think about accountability. Fundamentally there's two kinds of accountability. There's a vertical accountability, which most people understand. Supervisor, subordinate, boss, employee, however you want to call it. That vertical accountability makes sense. I'm accountable up the ladder for my performance, and my supervisor is accountable to make sure that I'm trained and prepared, and so on and so forth. Most people understand that part, vertical. Horizontal accountability is much, much, much tougher, because you're taking two people that are of equal power or equal positionally, and you're asking them to hold one another accountable, and a lot of times you're asking them to do that on areas outside of their own. So think about that for a minute. You've got people in your organization right now that if you looked at an organizational chart or some type of hierarchy, they're all on the same level, but they work in different areas, they work in different departments, they play different positions, whatever the case may be. And you're asking, ideally you're working to a place where they will hold one another accountable and responsible for their actions and their results and their behaviors. And that's hard to do that, because people are sitting there going, wait, I don't want somebody, kind of putting their nose in my business. So I kind of feel guilty challenging somebody else over there. They're my equal. I don't have the vertical authority to do that. I'm horizontal with them, so it's a little bit tougher. So the line of choice helps this a little bit. And the peer-to-peer accountability is the toughest thing to achieve. And if you look at the 5 dysfunctions of a team, Patrick Lencioni, the Table Group, we've done quite a bit of work in that field. And this is not a 5 dysfunctions discussion, that's a different one. But there's trust, there's conflict, there's commitment, there's accountability, and there's results. Those are the 5 components of a functional team, or the antithesis would be a dysfunctional team. And if you look at all of the team assessments the Table Group has done over time, hundreds of thousands of team assessments, section number 4, accountability, is historically the lowest scoring area. And it's because of what we just talked about. Peer-to-peer accountability is hard because it makes people uncomfortable. They don't feel like they have the right to challenge somebody else who's equal to them. So this helps. And this helps because at a behavioral level, we're all the same. We are all the same. There's no hierarchy, there's no organizational structure when it comes to personal conduct. When it comes to taking ownership, responsibility, and accountability for what you've done, we're all the same. When it comes to blame, making excuses, denying things, we're all the same. So if you can introduce this model into your team, and you can get your team members, all your players, all your employees, your household, to start challenging one another on their behaviors, this is a major step. And you'll hear this. It starts to become part of the culture. You'll hear people call each other out and say, hey man, that was below the line, what you just did, how you handled that. Or the other side, the real positive side is, hey, you really went above the line on that and took ownership of that thing, and that was a pretty cool example you just said. That's tremendous.
And because we're doing it on behaviors, it's a more comfortable environment for people to start to hold one another accountable. So if you can get this into your organization at the behavioral level, it will gradually start to transform and morph and evolve itself into a situation where employees are holding one another accountable for performance and for results. That's a major, major, major piece right now. Think about if you had that. Think about employees holding one another accountable for the results that the other one achieved or didn't achieve. That means you don't have to do it all the time. You don't have to be the bad person all the time. You don't have to be the one that calls out lack of performance, poor behavior, or anything. It starts to happen organically among your team, and their performance and their respect for one another and their trust for one another starts to all come up. And those are all great things. The team starts to improve, the family starts to improve, the business starts to improve, and everything moves forward. But we have to start it at a behavioral level where we're all equal. So, above the line or below the line, your choice, right there. Two major pieces to that. One is about you, how you want to lead and how you want to live your life. Above the line, very admirable. Below the line, not so much. Learn that and set a great example wherever you are in your life. And the other piece, the added bonus to this, is it can have a profound impact on how your team is aligned, how they work together, and the progress that they make as a cohesive unit. Super, super, super important. So, choose wisely. Again, John Greene, Scott Fisher Enterprises with leadership mantra number 4. Next week, you'll see the final one in this series, which will be number 5. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. And until then, remember, we do more than just sell motorcycles.